Hey there internet, Johnny B here, and today we are doing something that I have not done in a while. That is a review, but not of a food product. Today we are reviewing 21 Pilots' new album, Blurryface. Live Unedited. So, to begin with, if you do not know what 21 Pilots is, it is a band consisting of Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn. NBD, I went to school with Tyler Joseph. They're fantastic. At this point, you've probably heard of them because they've gotten like super famous in the past year, 2, 4 years. I don't know. Time is hard for me, but they're great. They're really weird. Their lyrics are incredibly deep and like gut-wrenching, and their music is bizarre to say the least. However, all that being said, you should listen to them, at least give them a chance. I am assuming in my review of this album that you are familiar with their previous work. I'm reviewing it as someone who likes their former stuff and comparing it to it. First thing that needs to be said is this is very different. It starts out, the first song is called Heavy Dirty Soul. I don't know why I'm showing you. You can't hear it. And it's like this weird, grungy, super duper fast rap that you can't even really understand, although you can kind of slightly. And it's just like a lot heavier, darker than any of their former stuff. And that pretty much carries through the rest of the album, with the exception of like Tear in My Heart. And that's pretty much it, with the exception of Tear in My Heart. The whole album kind of super depressing, and that may be something that you're not exactly ready for, and so especially on your first couple listen throughs, it's kind of off-putting. I'm gonna be honest, I sat down with my fancy headphones when I got the album and I listened to it straight through, and I was like, I am not particularly enjoying this so much, because as a whole, it's very doubtful, very dark, very depressed, very questioning, very sad, honestly, to an extent. Now, there is a quote-unquote happy ending. Not really happy, optimistic ending. The song Goner, I don't want to say anything about it. It's beautiful. You just need to listen to it and let it rip your heart out. And then like put it back in, and then rip it out again, then put it back in. That's my first thought. It's very dark. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Second thing that a lot of critics are saying is a bad thing, and again, it's off-putting at first, you get used to it. Musically, this album has no cohesiveness. None whatsoever. You go from one song that's like super upbeat ukulele and then go into this like grunge electronica, and then like there's reggae on this album. I'm not kidding, or at least like pseudo reggae pop something. Take this as a warning, take this as a criticism, take this as you will. But the album as a whole doesn't really seem to go together. Until, and this is the third note, and this is the coolest thing for me, the like number one positive, is the whole album is about a person named Blurryface. And this is essentially the alter ego of Tyler, the lead singer, and it represents his doubts and his anxieties and his fears. And that's why the whole album is about those things. Basically, every song on here is in one way or another Tyler singing to Blurryface or about Blurryface, or sometimes even Blurryface singing. So this whole album is about that character. And so if you view it as a whole and you view it as kind of this conversation back and forth between Tyler and Blurryface, and a lot of the album, Blurryface seems to be winning. But once again, at the end, the song Goner is like the final wrap it all up, and it's beautiful. It's hard to explain, and I don't want to give anything away, and that sounds dumb because it's a musical album, but I firmly believe that this is the kind of thing that you should buy, or at least get on Spotify, maybe. It may not necessarily be your kind of music that you really enjoy listening to, and I'm okay with that. It's weird, I will freely admit that, but it is something that I believe should be experienced. A few standouts on the album, in my opinion, and these are just personal tastes. The song Stressed Out, that's the second one on the album. It was one of the singles they released. It's all about how like as you grow older, life just gets more and more difficult and scary, to be perfectly honest. That one's really good. The song Lane Boy, and that is about how 21 Pilots doesn't like to do any genres. They're just like, we can do whatever we want to. That is what Lane Boy is about, and it shows. Goner, I've already ranted about far too many times. Tear in My Heart is a love song, as only 21 Pilots could do it. But then my personal favorite, right in the middle of the album, and it is a song called The Judge. And it is at least one of the most explicitly religious songs 21 Pilots has ever made. It is directly Tyler talking to God, pleading for mercy, and at the same time, it is catchy, and delightful to listen to and really relatable, and I just kind of view it as the thing that ties the whole central package together. In conclusion, I would say absolutely listen to this album at least one time. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just leave it alone, never listen to it again. Until next week, what's your favorite album of the past year? Because that's a fun question. Let me know down in the comment section below. Deuces.